of this webinar? Just maybe as a sentence. Yeah, your expectations for this webinar on chat. Okay, thank you very much. Seeing how to use AI and not let AI use me, improve L&D by leveraging AI. Okay, then we have Eunice is joining from Kerogoya, perfect, Nyaga County. We have Paul. Pleasure to see you after a long while. Welcome very much, Paul. Helen, Nairobi, and Joseph, Nairobi. Perfect. Okay, Jackie from Nairobi, my expectation. Looking forward to learn the realities and available opportunities to plug in. Lawrence Mwangi Maingi from Laikipia, welcome very much. Lawrence, I hope you're from Olkalau. You guys did something interesting, and I hope it was not AI. Okay, I wish to appreciate how AI can make HR easier. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's share some more expectations. There are around 26 of us in this meeting. Just share our expectations and then we'll be ready to start off. Okay. Aha. On chat, let's share that on chat. Then I want to introduce the speakers and we'll be ready to go. Our expectations and where you're joining us from. Let's share session expectations. Yeah. So the goal of the title of this webinar is AI in HR and L&D. We want to look at the myths, the realities, and the opportunities. Now, quite a while back, we did some trainings around AI, and I think we were doing them with IBM. We attended some trainings with IBM way back in 2018. And it's interesting over the last 8 years, what has developed. So right now we see a huge influx around AI. And our last webinar was around from AI expert from HR expert to AI champion. And this is a follow-up webinar with the title AI in HR and L&D. And with me, I have four panelists. 3 of them are already in the session. Kennedy will be joining us shortly. And maybe we want to start with the ladies. Maybe you can introduce yourself. Let's start with Kate. Kate, you can introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Martin?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Catherine Wekesa, and my background, a brief background is I'm in HR, I'm in L&D, I'm in human performance improvement and operations. Basically, in terms of what I do is I sit at that intersection where we have strategy, we have operations, we have HR, we have data and human performance. And I try to help organizations to stop working very hard in the wrong direction and turn things in terms of redesigning the systems, the processes, products, and how people work to produce individuals and systems that work, that stop people from overcompensating on what is wrong. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Christine.
All right, so Christine Adongo. I'm into L&D, learning and development, and I'm also a trainer, or rather facilitator. I've been into L&D for quite a long time now. I have 5+ years experience, and I also have experience in the AI industry, considering I worked on a fully AI company. So I'm looking forward to have a good session, to learn as well, to interact, to connect, and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christine. Victor, over to you for your introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. Good evening to everybody. Victor Wanyama is my name. I'm a product manager at a cybersecurity company where we do offer cybersecurity services and products. So there I'm in charge of training, so specifically training around incident response culture readiness. So away from the technical sections, so it is more looking at the people, how they respond during breaches that do happen in companies. Other than that as well, I am a global ambassador for the Global Council for Responsible AI. So this is a group whereby it's a global group actually that speaks on responsible use of AI within organizations and all through to the individual level. Yeah, so Martin, I'm very happy to be here to share my thoughts today.
Okay, pleasure. Thank you very much. Now, maybe what way we would start would be, let me start with you, Catherine. What are the myths around AI currently? Is we know, though we have been saying AI is going to take our jobs. No, those ones who don't have AI are the ones who are going to be replaced. What are some of the myths currently going on?
What I can say is one of the myths is exactly what you've said, that AI will replace maybe a number of things, or even the people. If you can recall back about in the beginning of this year, people were talking about if we have AI in HR, so do we really need to have the HR people? That was a question that was being asked. Meaning that there's that perception that once you have AI there, so you don't need HR to do the final decision making and all those things, the judgment around there, the trust building, conflict resolution, and all those things. So that's one of the myths. The other one will be that there's always that assumption that AI, because it is not human, so there's that expectation that it's fair and objective. It could be fair and objective, but depending on the data it has been given. So again, that's an area, it may have some biases here and there. So again, the human aspect needs to come in and cut through the different biases. Another one would be AI is for company like what you mentioned, IBM earlier. The Nestle's, the big companies. But in reality, even the small companies, even the SMEs can still use AI. Mid-sized companies can still use AI. So it's a matter of how you're going to use it and what level you're going to use it. And that's what how it comes in to help you. Then the other aspect would be let's see, if we were to look at AI in L&D is only when we want to look at maybe learning, developing the courses only and leaving it there, or just to help in that learning aspect, but it can do a lot within there, not just helping you come up with a course outline.
Perfect.
So those are a few that come to mind.
Vic, let me come to you. In your work, what are the things you're finding and you're asking, how our diskia, where did they hear this one from?
You're a bit on mute at the start. It's me.
Oh, okay. I was asking from your activities within organizations around AI projects, around digital transformation, what are those things you're thinking, you're hearing, and you're asking yourself, where did they hear this from?
Well, I think the most obvious one that I've had is that AI thinks, which is just not true at all. AI does not think, it predicts. And Catherine mentioned something very important, one word, which is data. AI is really all about data. And how I do explain it to organizations and people, we need to look at AI as a fridge, a refrigerator. It's like Martin, the last time you admired your fridge was the only time you bought it. And that is how we need to think about AI. So with AI, if you look at the fridge, for example, the fridge is not something like it wows us or anything, but it created industries. It created Coca-Cola, it created the food and beverage industry, and that is what AI will do moving into the future. So AI is not the thing. AI is just a fridge which will create new opportunities for the industry and for people into how we work in how we work in workplaces. Yeah, so in general, it's to really explain that AI is not a thinking tool. AI is just simply an amplifier of the data that you have. And the more structured it is and more organized it is, the better it is mapped, the greater your advantage is with AI. So AI to me, I also, if you cannot put it down on paper from A to Z, please do not implement AI. So that is really the thing is especially with executives, it's everyone is using AI. Where can we use it? They just want to use it anywhere, but that's not really the best approach to take it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Christine, let me come to you. Now, you, in your former organization, you were taking people and you're working with AI. Most likely you came across fresh people who are coming across AI for the first time, or they had done some work. What are some of those beliefs they had, and you are like, I have never had that one before?
I was smiling when you were saying beliefs because most people have trained on AI. They tend to think, okay, our work is quite simple. AI will do the rest. For example, if maybe in L&D, we all know we are supposed to create content, manage the LMSs and stuff like that. Most people will just, like what Victor said, come with vague prompts and put them on AI and get vague answers. And that's it. They think that's it. That's all they should do. But it's much deeper than that. And I also like what Catherine said. AI, it's there to help. It's there to accelerate your thinking process. If you cannot write it down, just as Victor has said, you do not use AI because whatever you'll use it for, you won't get the correct output out of it. Yeah. So most people believe kazi imekuwa rahisi, things are easy now because we have AI, but not knowing actually they are doing it wrong.
Okay. So thank you very much, Christine. Now, for those who are joining us for our first session, in our last session titled From HR Expert to AI champion, Kennedy shared that there's the group categories of AI. There is generative AI, there is predictive AI, there is automation AI, and decision-making AI. Now, for the purposes of our webinars, we want to focus on the three: predictive AI, automation AI, and decision-making AI. Generative AI, I think we are all familiar with. You want to know something, you go to ChatGPT and you type that. Now, we are looking at, and is the basis of these webinars. Question we asked ourselves as high performance was, is generative AI the only AI tool available for HR and L&D professionals? So, and that's what our focus is going to be on. Now, the phrase we all know as HR and L&D professionals are that the thing around AI will replace humans, and that the humans who can work with AIs are the ones that the job market will be requiring, or with the ones who will not become obsolete. And it is also what we are seeing as the expectations. How do we then align ourselves to use AI tools so that we'll remain relevant? Now, I want to ask you in the audience, and you can share on chat, what are some of the myths around AI that you have had? Let's share that on chat. What are some of the myths you have had around AI? Now, there's a time we needed to do a proposal and we were time short, and we thought, why, we can use AI to generate the whole proposal. Why are we disturbing ourselves? Only to find that there's some limitation. It can only do so much, a number of pages. Yeah. So I'm seeing Waweru that AI will take our jobs. Okay. AI is accurate, very trusted. Jackie. Lillian from Taita Taveta, welcome to the session. What are some of the myths we have had? So, and as people share this, Victor, is AI going to take our jobs? Should we start planning retirement?
For some, but not everyone. We already have very clear indications that it might not be the case. If you look at the big technology companies, so last year they did massive layoffs. And this year they're doing massive recruitment. After now they've figured out AI is not working without the people. So that is a good sign for people, for all of us, to know that this is not either or situation. This is human machine teaming. So the AI has to work together with the human, because the AI itself does not have fundamental issues that will make it successful. It does not have taste, it doesn't have judgment, it doesn't have relationships built over years. So that is a really major thing that will slow down the change. But of course, with AI now, it has never been easier to create. So if it has become so easy to create, that means the 8 to 5 work model that we have has to be relooked. Maybe we have to only work for 4 hours if we can create things so quickly, and then we spend the rest of the hours improving our taste, improving our judgment. And that is really where the human being will always have a role to play. And I don't feel like it will make a big tectonic shift with regards to human resources. Yeah.
Okay. Catherine, let me come to you. Is AI causing job losses in the HR industry?
Let me put it this way. What it's causing is a bit of upskilling and reskilling. Let me start with, in the HR space, let's look at, we have recruiters. And way back, so many eons back, I used to be a recruiter and would take a while. You receive, those days you were receiving a little bit, about maybe 80, 100 CVs for a particular job you've advertised. And this is, I'm talking about the year 2000, 2001, thereabout. And you're doing recruitment and you receive a lot. So you take time to go through that. Now, we have AI, and rightfully to look at it from what you mentioned, when we look at the decision-making AI type in HR and L&D. So as a recruiter, you need to reskill yourself how to pass CVs and in a way to make sure that from those CVs that we received, I'll give you an example. Not last week, the other week, we received about 1,000 CVs for a role in finance. But going through those 1,000 CVs, it's a monumental task because you have other things to do. So we use that decision-making AI to help us, one, screen those CVs. And even as we are screening, to come down to the top 50 with the right criteria that we needed. So it doesn't mean it will give you that feedback immediately. Going back to what Victor had said and what Christine had said, that it's not a direct, that there's some, you have to use human judgment at the end of it all. So we're working on time, on speed, to be able to pass through these CVs and then have the top 50 based on our criteria, but it's giving us an output in an Excel file that now we go back and check manually best that whatever is given there is the correct. So that's in recruitment. Even in HR yourself, as you do the recruitment internally, if you're not a recruiter, so you need to flip that. How do you work faster and all that? So what it's doing is you need to reskill for those repetitive tasks. There'll be some upskilling on how you do prompting. So people like Christine come in handy, people like Victor come in handy. How you actually, and the data that you feed into it, where is it getting, what's the source and all that. So not necessarily that HR will lose job, but the kind of things that we'll be doing is shifting. So you'll not be doing a lot of recruitment seated there. You will be shifting, like now what I was telling you, we took 45 minutes to go through 1,000 CVs and we got that breakdown. On learning and development, identifying capabilities for a particular department and going through, and we were looking at from personality tests, not just one. These are people who have taken 4, 5, 6 personality tests, performance management report, those in succession planning, and coming up with all that. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is you will change what you're doing. You may not necessarily lose the HR, but you will change what you do within HR. How you play a bigger role in that judgment, what Victor was talking about, in that empathy, in creating that trust. How do people buy in that AI helped in part A, B, C, D, and the decision we are making, if we are using decision-making AI, that was the right decision. How is it back to you're still thinking? Even in automation, in responses to emails, responses to certain things, when you automate that process. So basically, in a nutshell, we'll change what we are doing, will not be the normal that we are doing. So upskilling, reskilling.
Now, Christine, let me come to you as you're in L&D. Now, there was some thinking that you don't need to be an L&D professional to now design and develop learning programs. Anyway, there is AI. Is that a myth, or is that what is, where would it fall? Do we still need professional skills around a subject area, like now designing and developing learning programs?
Yeah, definitely that's the biggest myth we have actually. And like Victor said, a lot of people lost their jobs. Most companies thought that now that there's AI, there's no need of Christian being here. We can just input what we want and create content on whatever subject we want. But that was the biggest mistake most industries did. Thank God they are now relearning and now rehiring. Um, I would say that human expertise is hugely needed in L&D. As much as we have AI and we have L&D AI working tools, we still need human input. I'll give an example. For example, let's assume we are coming up with a topic on instructional design. Yes, AI might give us some content on that particular topic, but we will require a human expertise to be able to make this content be relevant to the targeted group. So as much as we are using AI, we still need human in L&D. AI cannot replace human facilitators. What AI can do, it can just give you more context, more knowledge about a certain topic, but you as an L&D professional, or rather a human workforce, you are highly needed in facilitating certain topics, and you do it better than any AI. So that's my take on that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Victor, are we going to have AI sitting on boats, or that is another myth?
AI sitting. Well,
Yes.
there's a possibility. Yeah,
Sorry,
there's a
yes, go on.
possibility for that happening, especially in the decision making. So at the board level, it is very important that the data is absolutely clean as much as possible from the bottom up, from the bottom to the very top, so that they can make very quick and efficient decisions. So that is a good opportunity that to have AI inside the board. Yeah, so essentially it is really that. It's really all about data. The data is AI. AI doesn't exist if the data is disjointed. It doesn't have any direction, or it's not mapped properly. So really, before it even makes it to the board, the other teams below, they need to really make sure it is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Even some of the things we speak about in the Global Council for Responsible AI, especially what I speak on, so I call it the IIO framework, which is the intent, incentive, and the outcome. So for every AI deployment, you need to have such thinking. What is the true intent, this AI deployment that we want? Once you're very clear about the intent, you now go and investigate the incentive. So what is this thing doing? For example, you can have an AI your intent is to have fair hiring practices, for example, but your data shows something different. Maybe they don't hire genders equally. So the incentive for the AI is to simply amplify what the traditional data was already showing. So, and then which does produce the outcome. So the intent, the incentive, and the outcome should really be at the underlying reasons as to why AI should be deployed. And even as it goes to the board, it has to really follow that framework. What is the true intent? What do we really looking to do? Like even for example, one of the cases outside of, like for example, in a stock brokerage firm, the intent is to make their customers trade in shares. But what is the true incentive? Sometimes you find the true incentive is to make the customers buy high and sell low, and keep sending them push notifications, which which affects their psychological states, where they keep on trading over and over and over. And in the end, the outcome is your customers get poorer over time. It is really important to understand the intent, what is the incentive, what is the outcome. Yeah.
Victor, sorry, two things come into mind. When you say sending messages, is it that this eye, the only thing it's doing is nudging activity?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm saying it is good to really zero in and look at what is the true incentive. Because again, the incentive might not come from the organization actually. It might come from the vendors. They listen to you, they say, oh, you want more transactions. Okay. So they optimize the AI framework to keep pushing customers to keep on trading, for example. So
Okay.
most of the time, incentives is really found in the procurement discussion.
Now, you'll forgive me. I'm going to ask a very simple question, but and I don't know why it came into my mind. When we are talking in the organizational context, and also maybe in a broader context, what actually is AI? Victor?
AI.
Yes.
AI is an amplifier of what is already there. So what it does is it looks at the data and it doesn't really, as I say, it does not think. So it cannot think beyond its data set. So AI is really an amplifier of what you already have and a clear understanding of what you have and what it is amplifying. Because one of the things also we are seeing is it's like a monster. It's very hard to control it. It drifts. You cannot know it has drifted, for example, to a point that, as I said, it could be having unfair hiring practices, but you don't know. But again, the outcome might come out later that this AI has been doing certain types of things. So it is really an amplifier, and as it amplifies, it is very important to understand what is it really amplifying from the data that you already have. Yeah.
Okay. Kate, let me come to you. And what I want to ask is, what are the realities around AI and in the context of AI for organizations' data sets?
Okay. First, let me chime in a little bit in terms of what Victor has talked about. And remember, Victor talked about intent, incentive, and impact. And when he was mentioning that, in my head, I connected it to, you know, in organizations, when we bring in AI, when we look at things like that, we are either looking at, we want to improve our operational efficiency. We are looking at maybe how do we bring in new products? How do we compete in this new market and all that. However, that's the clean version. Sometimes we want AI because I've seen Victor's company has AI. They're using AI. Christine's company already were using last year. So I am feeling like the feeling of being left out. It's called FOMO or something like that.
Fear of missing out.
AI so that we also recognize that we are using the current technology within our systems and all that. And that creates a possibility of what Victor was talking about in terms of choice. There's something we call as choice architect, where you develop, even in HR, we develop our policies to nudge people or the talent. Particularly, let me pick a very good example, performance management. Performance management is used to shape behaviors, to increase productivity within the organization, human performance improvement. Now, it's about developing people and all that. However, if the choice architect is, if the way we put the choices around it, it can be used to nudge and produce something else, not what we really want to. So how those nudges and those choice architect, what Victor was talking about, are very big things that we need to be cognizant. Meaning, as we are looking at the intent, the incentive, and the impact, we need to come back and look at it as well as, okay, fine, we want AI. What is it coming to do? Which was the intent? So is it to improve operational efficiency? Meaning, let's pick the HR perspective. So are we going to use it to improve those HR tasks, which are very repetitive and cheaper? So we quicken that, meaning we are able to, our turnaround in HR, in recruitment and things like that, we've quickened it. However, there's another tier that comes next after we've made these tasks which were repetitive, we have cleaned them out. Then how do we make these, how do we increase it just from it being operationally efficient? We move it further that apart from time, apart from speed, there is quality of work. So that's usually another tier, which is called advanced operational efficiency. So that you're looking at the speed, consistency, and the quality of things. Back to, again, what Victor was talking about. So that's how we look at it, at AI in an organization. So once we move from the first level, then we come to that advanced operational. When we move from there, then we start looking at, we always hear people talk about, we need our organization to be data-driven. We are making decisions which are data-driven. What does it mean? It means you need to, as you're feeding it on tier one, you first must have gone back and cleaned your data. You feed that data on tier one. If you fed it wrong performance management data or incomplete forms, please know it will give you garbage. Just know that. It won't think. From what you give, it will produce from what you've given it. Now, when we say data-driven now, when we move to the third tier is where now you're looking at focusing on now these data-driven services. What else can HR, in terms of HR and L&D services, can we get from the workforce analytics? What can we get from learning and development analytics? How do we look at it? Where does it get data from? Where does it pull data from? When we come to now the last tier, which is digital platforms or ecosystems around. So apart from it just pulling data that way, can it pull data from all the other departments and all our customers, even from the sales and from customers outside, even from the website and all that? And how do we look at it? How does it respond? Are we getting now fuller details on our analysis or even information from there and from the services we have? So coming back to what you had asked, which is in an organization, what does it really mean? You need to think about what Victor has said, and you need to look at it from those three tiers. That any AI that you're bringing in, you have to look at it that way. What is it coming to do, and what is it improving in terms of operational efficiency? What does it mean? When we come to advanced operational efficiency, what does it mean? Again, picking the three aspects that Victor talked about. In tier one, intent, incentive, impact, and what are we nudging? What are we pushing? So you really need to think through within an organization. It looks simple from outside, but you need to take your time to think through. Data is key. And what I always say is start small, but clean your data. Take time. Go through that master list, HR master list for people. Make sure it has full, complete data. Where there's no data, look for that data, add the data there into that file, and that's the file you'll be using internally. Because if that data is corrupted, you'll get corrupt feedback.
Okay. Perfect. Christine, let me come to you. What are the realities around AI in L&D?
Okay, realities around AI. First of all, everyone needs to understand that AI enhances knowledge, delivery, and scalable practice, but it cannot replace human facilitators. For example, in complex areas like leadership, negotiation, organizational change, those really require human expertise. So AI scales learning. Human expertise drives contextual understanding and cultural alignment. We are all in an organization and we have a culture in that particular organization. So for us to align L&D, HR, and other departments, we need human expertise. Also, I would say AI has really increased or rather improved ROI in corporate training. It has reduced time productivity when used correctly, of course. It has also helped in improving the visibility of skill gaps. One role of an L&D professional is to analyze skills, what people are doing and where they're failing at. So AI has come to improve, analyze the skills. It has also helped us in personalizing paths to eliminate wasted training times. We realize some organizations take too much time when it comes to training, when it comes to, let's say, coming up with an onboarding structure, things like that. So when you have AI, at least it has reduced the amount of time you use to come up with such structures and increase productivity in general. So depending on how you use it, I like the way Catherine has explained it. Uh, Depending on how you use it, then you're most likely to get the most out of AI. So if you use it correctly, definitely your productivity, your facilitation, or rather learning methods will increase greatly. But when you use it wrongly, that's where the problem comes in.
Thank you very much, Christine. Now, to everyone in the session, I want to ask, and I've put the question on chat, is your organization using AI? And is it using it for predicting, automation, decision making, or you would fall under others? Others is using generative AI to generate job descriptions, come up with those things that you would use for in ChatGPT. So let's share. Is your organization using AI? And then the second part of the question is it using it for predicting, for automation, or decision making? Or let's share on chat just to see what are we doing with AI out there. And as we wait on that, I want us to start looking at now the opportunities. Victor, what are the opportunities that AI brings?
I would start with where we are right now. So globally, 95% of AI deployments actually have failed, again, which comes back to that data issue. So the opportunity for me is to move very slowly and really understand where AI comes from and what is AI. AI is really the data. The better it is, the more you understand what it is, you understand your incentives, you understand your intent, the greater the opportunities. So the opportunities really is execution speed is going to increase dramatically. Again, for the people that have really understood the basics. So it's really understanding the first principles of AI. The first principles of AI is data and how it works and how it is mapped together for your organization. So we will be executing very quickly, which now gives organizations enough time to spend it on improving their tastes, improving their judgment, which are and fortifying the relationships that they have in their businesses, because these are things that AI will never do. If you know how you use your AI and what it can do, it improves team productivity, honestly, because now you know I can go and pitch at any point, anything, and I know I'm able to create whatever it is that the client wants. So that bottleneck of we have to think, we have to hire software engineers, we have to hire a whole entire department. Because right now, from a single series of prompts, you are literally prompting a whole entire department, things that we have never been able to do. This is an incredible time in our generation, whereby if you think about it, you can make a whole department by yourself. It is really for also the leadership to really think how they can optimize. So what can AI do and what can a human being do? So creating that distinction is really key, and I think that will be the key competitive advantage moving forward. The companies that already understand if I do something in a week 3 times and it's the same exact process, that is a candidate for automation. So having that knowledge, that judgment to understand what needs to be automated and what needs not to be automated, that is also a very big governance issue that we have seen come up. Again, that is a human being who's going to decide what needs to be automated and what does not need to be automated. And I feel that the opportunities are really huge, and it will really now create the true global village that the internet brought. So now that will expand it even further. We'll be able to attempt to achieve opportunities beyond the borders and into the globe. So yeah, things are looking good. Other than that, I feel AI is going to be so good when it comes to healthcare, especially for example, drug discovery is going to be shortened, and that means human beings will be able to live much longer.
Okay. Thank you, Victor. Catherine, what are the opportunities that AI brings? Because if you look at what computers brought, there were jobs we didn't know. There were hustles we didn't know that could be there. So what opportunities is AI bringing on the table?
Okay. I'm going to focus on HR and a little bit of L&D, but I'll leave a lot of it with Christine. So remember the story I gave earlier in the session where I talked about recruitment. So it will come in handy in talent acquisition. So that process, the time that has always been spent in that screening and all that process, so it will shorten one. That's the opportunity that is there. Two, when we look at workforce analytics, we in HR, we keep talking about that we need to make sure we use for us to give or to make sure HR has an impact within the organization, that within our data and what we do, we must have analytics that ensure HR is effective, analytics that ensure HR is efficient, and the last huge percentage usually is we need to have 70% of our data-driven HR to be impact-driven HR. Now, to bring that impact-driven HR, workforce analytics and AI play that role. AI comes in terms of the workforce analytics that you need to do to predict turnover, to do capability gaps assessments, plan ahead, and things like that. So that's how you're going to be to use AI, an opportunity that is there for us HR. I mean, and for some of my brothers and sisters in HR, I know what we call mathematics is not our forte. So AI can help you, but you need to know what actually, in terms of workforce analytics, you're going to be calculating. In employee experience, there are certain questions that going back to what Victor talked about, that you keep getting questions and questions and same questions coming from different employees across the board within your organization. So AI chatbots come in for those common questions that people ask to make sure that there is a response for them, instead of every now and then employees or staff looking for HR, and sometimes HR might be somewhere else. And also just improving service delivery and things like that. Again, now, when we look at talent management as a whole, so from how you now you have talent on board. So whether you're building, whether you're borrowing, whether you are, whatever you're going to do with that talent. So how are you going to develop that talent? How are you going to making those learning paths very personalized, as opposed to sending a whole lot of sheep to a class, and yet out of all these that you're sending, only 2 or 3 need that particular course that you're designing. And I'm sure Christine will talk more in that particular area, and also identifying the types of the skills and capability that are there within the organization as an HR. So these are quick areas where AI would help as an HR person, how you look at it, the opportunities it creates around there. So that's what I would say. Let me stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, Catherine. Christine, what are the opportunities AI has created for L&D practitioners?
Thank you, Martin. Definitely, L&D being the learning department for every organization, there's a lot of new roles that has come up with the AI. For example, right now we have AI trainers, people who have actual expertise in training about AI and the tools that are there. We have AI agent specialists. So these are new roles that we didn't have in L&D. Way back, L&D was just L&D. Maybe you do onboarding, you train about the organizational culture and small things. But right now with AI, we have some sort of specialization. We have people who are into AI governance. They use AI to create trainings, to recommend content, to optimize everything that is required in the L&D domain, and also it support performance. Last year when I was doing a PIP session, just like Catherine said, AI helped greatly in assessing the skill gaps, and that's it made my work easier in this PIP process. I was able to understand this particular employee has a certain skill gap, and he or she needs to be helped in a certain way. Definitely, it reduced my time, my productivity increased, and the performance of this particular employee really improved. So AI also, it has created an AI adaptation coaches. I would say guys who are invested in redesigning the instructional design people. It has really increased their productivity and helped them also to adapt and coach other people in terms of instructional design. Instructional design used to look like a huge mountain in L&D. But these days, at least, it's a bit easier with AI tools and more understandable. It's easy now to create an LMS, to run an LMS, to have the chatbots that Catherine has talked about, to give prompt feedback to the trainees and such things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Christine. Now, I want to look at the last thing before we close today's session so that we are on time this week. Now, I want us to dissect whether this is a myth, is a reality, or it is an opportunity. And I'll start with you, Kennedy. I've heard that the next billionaires are going to be made by AI. Where does that fall? Victor.
Yeah, so I want to add two things. I want to add something just for HR guys before I answer your question, because I think it's important. So it is important as well as you deploy your AI to look at the security. So I'm speaking as a cybersecurity professional. So there are things like data poisoning where someone or an employee can maliciously poison your database or your data set, which will flow into your AI. And also on the thing of recruitment. Now, yes, you can get 1,000 applications and narrow them down to 50. But now what people have learned, something called prompt injection. So they put instructions inside the CV. They're not legible, but they can be read by the AI systems, which help them to jump the line, for example. So they put any type of instruction that will give them a fair chance, not a fair, unfair chance to appear at the top. So that is something to also be careful about. Even if it is doing quickly, there are some of these CVs which have been injected with malicious prompts. So they will appear on your desk. So with regards to billionaires, yes, there's a big possibility now we'll be having individuals who are able to do a lot. As I even said earlier, right now you're able to even prompt an entire department. You can now be able to prompt an entire company by yourself. You just need to pay for your LLM, understand what you're doing, understand the market needs, and you're able to achieve so much by yourself as an individual, even before you start collaborating with other human beings. So I feel it is quite true that we might get millionaires and billionaires as individuals. There will be no big companies going forward. There will be one individual with a real problem working with. Of course, you have to work with, I believe, salespeople, people who will make sure it gets sold.
Okay, thank you, Victor. Catherine, what's your take on that? Are we going to have HR billionaires from AI?
It will be interesting. From just what Victor was talking about and what crossed my mind is if we know remember I wear several hats and one of them is operations. So in operations, we look at people, process, product, and the customer at the other end. But then usually quite the most challenging part is usually where we have people. So it's the internal staff and the external customer. Why? Because of people behavior, human behavior. It's not easily that you can, systems you can tweak and you know what to expect. If somebody can actually create an AI that can read people's mind and anticipate their next move, that will be a trillionaire.
Okay. Now, before
However, but there are
Uh-huh.
opportunities here and there that the opportunities which are there to bring that what do you call it that billionaire in HR is if you think HR, the new HR services out of these creating HR ecosystems using AI. If you get to that space, then you'll make something, because that you're moving away from the normal and creating some new services in HR, but creating an ecosystem. So that would be, you'll make
Okay.
money there.
Perfect. Before we come to Christine, there is a question I've put on chat. What opportunity, and this is for everyone in the session, what opportunities do you see AI has created for HR and learning and development professionals? You can share that in chat. And just to review what people said about whether they're using AI, we had our organization is using AI for automation and decision making, but primarily it must make sense. We majorly use it, we majorly use it to generate documents. Miss Winnie, we are using others, generative, then Eunice, generative, Waweru, recruitment, data analytics, lead generation, and prompt responses, incorporation into in the ERP and other systems. Perfect. So now, to everyone in the session, what opportunities do you see AI has created for HR and for learning and development professionals? Now then, as people do that, Christine, to you, are we going to see, recently I saw a list of some of the richest people in L&D, and my thinking now is, are we going to get to where people in L&D are making good money, millions, in millions, using AI? Is that an opportunity that has presented?
Just like what Catherine has said, unless you really think outside the box and create something that is unique, create systems that is unique and solve L&D problems, you might be even a trillionaire. So it depends with how you use AI, heavily how you use AI. But if you use AI, like you say, just generative, you prompt it, it gives you answers, then you have a long way to go. But if you come outside of that cocoon and use it and create system, because I know AI can help you create systems that makes works easier. And if you can give solutions that paints the L&D managers, definitely you stand a chance to be a millionaire. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much, Victor, Christine, Catherine, and we received an apology from Kennedy. He couldn't make it to the session. And to the audience, I hope this has been an eye-opening session. And it is our hope that we will continue looking at other areas. And from one of the expectations, I saw tools around AI. Now, unfortunately, that was not part of this session's agenda. So looking forward, we will have a session where we just discuss AI tools for organizations. So that will be our next webinar, possibly in the next 2 coming weeks. And also we will be sharing with you our programs around AI. The panelists that you have here, you see here, will be part of trainings that we are launching for AI, specifically around HR and learning and development. And we will also be looking around strategy formulation, strategy execution, performance management, employee experience, and we're going to share all this with you. And we'll also be speaking about them in the next session. Now, I see a hand up from Barack. Maybe you could open your mic and share with us.
Thank you, Martin, and the panelists. Thank you for the good job. But I just had a few questions in regards to what Madam Catherine had stated. When it comes to recruitment, when now you're shortlisting these candidates and you have 1,000 CVs as taking that as a reference, so how do you rather use AI to go through all these CVs and get someone who is competent for the position? Number two, with the AI rapidly changing the workplace, what skills should we as HR professionals start developing today to remain relevant and add strategic value over the next few years? Thank you.
Kate?
Okay. So it's a little bit of a process, what we call CV passing workflow. So you need to have, once you receive those CVs, you need to be able, there is a place where it's called, you receive the CVs that they go to. So within your systems internally, what you need to do is to be able to extract, one is to extract data or text from these CVs. What you're extracting you need to specify in that particular prompt. So one, you could be specifying that you need to have, it needs to create an applicant ID if the system did not, name, what else? Let's say it was a finance role. So what else would you be looking at? Candidate name, email, phone number. What are the requirements would you be having in screening? Do they have, what's the highest level of education? You'll be looking at how many years have they, within their CV, have they written? Is there evidence? The issue is evidence, not written. Now, remember what Victor was talking about. There's a way you can write some words. hide them in the CV. It does not appear. When somebody looks at it, you can't see it, but the system reads. So is there evidence of, let's say, financial reporting? Yes. Is there evidence of tax, whatever? Yes. Where is the evidence? And it attaches there on, it gives you an output as an Excel file. So for all those that you have received first, you can get that complete list of everyone in an Excel file. If you've if you've done good, if you have good, what do you call it, prompt engineering skills. So you've trained your system, your AI system with good data, so it knows how to pull and give you evidence. So when it says yes, it has financial, it picks the evidence part where it found that statement in the CV. So it puts all that together, but then you also have to put within it, what are your screening criteria? The evidence must be 1, 2, 3. Financial evidence is there. This evidence is there. This evidence is there, and it amounts to A, B, C, D. So once you do that, then you also, there's a scoring. As you're prompting it, there's a way you put that. Let's say the criteria. One of the criteria is, we were talking about finance, so it's CPA-K, 5 years relevance, financial reporting, tax. So these keywords found here and here, and these are the notes. So you have to really learn how to prompt engineer and put these aspects within the prompt that it looks for them, but it gives you evidence, not just to give you. Now, remember Victor and Christine also, and we talked about earlier that there is, it may not just give you don't take everything from there and you trust it. So from what it has given you first, it has passed through all those CVs, then now, and it has given you an output, then you go back and ask it, now, out of these and from the scoring sheet that you designed there, within the prompt engineering, can it give you the top 50? Let's say start first with the top 100. You look at what it looks like, then break it down to top 50. You still have to go there manually and look through that Excel file, what it has given you, refer to the actual CV. Do you see this? Do you see that? Do you see that? Then you break it down, you ask it again to break it down to the last 10, break it down to the last 5, and things like that. So you have to practice prompt engineering. For us, what we do is we pair, either we use Google and we use the API key from Google and use Python, and yes, there's a lot of stuff. What Martin said, we'll talk about the tools and whatnot next time when we have the next session. But yes, you do quite a lot of things in the background, and but you need to, prompt engineering is key, and you must put your criterion there, and you must put your weightage there. So you must advise it, and you must also make sure where you're receiving those CVs and how they look like, and things that even those CVs, what you're feeding it is good stuff. And at the same time, you need to, AI learns. So if you try the first time, I'm going to use a very interesting colloquial term I normally use. It will give you madhogodhanio the first time. So you need to train it to come to that level, that now you see that it's giving you good content and all that. So you can try and practice with older CVs that you received for a particular recruitment and look through it. But it's a whole, you will need to sit down and do prompt engineering, a little bit of it. I hope I haven't talked too much.
There was a second part about skills, and then we can close the session. Yes.
One of the skills is that actually you have to learn prompt engineering, because again, as we said, judgment, it's human who will make the judgment. It will give you the top 50, but you need to go back and look at it. You'll need to learn how to create workflows, or if you have IT people, they can help you to create that workflow, so that you have from how you receive, from its shortlist, and that criterion that you have For those who score 65, it can send feedback of 50. You automate whereby it sends email of thank you for applying for this position, blah, 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 and all that. So for me, prompt engineering, analytical skills, you still have to keep the principles of what you're doing. Please don't throw the principles we have learned on what we know in our head at the forefront. That has to be there. So don't throw it away saying AI is here.
Thank you very much, Kate. And to everyone, we want to appreciate your time and our apologies for going beyond the time. I hope 12 minutes have been worth the extension. Our intention was to finish at exactly 8:30, but we had an extension. Now, I would want us to kindly rate this webinar in terms of content shared with on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. How would you rate this session? Let me just share that. Highest. Finally, it's just because our rating, your rating for this session, we will, so that we can be able to improve this. I know on timekeeping we have not performed very well. We have gone beyond time. And what about the content? On a scale of 1 to 5, what is your